Atlas, the new Netflix sci-fi adventure starring Jennifer Lopez as Atlas and starring Simi Lui as Harlan. The film is about a rogue AI cyborg played by Simi Liu who wants to destroy the human race and destroy the Earth planet because he can see into the future and he can see he doesn't like the way that the humans are looking after the world, and he can see into the future. So he wants to uh, destroy all humans, and he wants AI robots to take over the universe, not just the Earth, but the whole universe. Atlas plays Jennifer Lopez plays Atlas, and she's a tech expert working for the government. Who she's an expert on AI and AI cyborg robots. There's a twist about halfway through the movie that we find out that actually Atlas and Harlan, Simu plays a cyborg, AI cyborg called Harlan, and they actually grew up together as a brother and sister. Uh, Atlas's mother, she designed Harlan and as an AI cyborg robot, and and they grew up as brother and sister. And but her mother favored Harlan more than her because she created him. It's her job to create AI. Her job was to create AI cyborgs, and uh, and because she created the robot, she felt more closer to Harlem, the robot, than she did her own daughter. So Jennifer Lopez, as a child, she because she doesn't get the love from her mother, she wants to be close. She wants to be more like a robot. So she develops a relationship with Harlem, and they come together, and eventually Harlem becomes evil. He uses that connection with Jennifer Lopez to become evil and to become more human and to see into the human race, and eventually and that's when we come to the start of the movie, where the start of the movie is Harlem. He uses his powers, AI powers. He creates other AI robots, and he basically almost destroys the Earth, almost destroys the universe. But eventually, the governments of all of the countries, they fight back against AI, and eventually they fight back, and eventually Harlem, he gets kicked out of the planet, and he ends up going into hiding. He doesn't get killed, but he ends up going into hiding. And then we fast forward, I think it's 10 years later or 20 years later. Jennifer Lopez is now an adult character, and they've found one of Harlem's cyborg agents has come back to Earth 20 years later. We don't know why, but they found him, and so they hack into this new agent, a cyborg agent. They find out where Harlem is hiding on some distant planet. So Jennifer Lopez joins forces with an agent played by Sterling K. Brown, and they form a crew, and they take a spaceship to this distant planet where they track Harlem to, and they end up on this planet. They crash land onto this planet. It's assumed that Harlem actually hacks into this spaceship, and they crash land onto this planet. And then once we're on this planet, maybe Sterling K. Brown, he's dead, but actually we find out later on that he's been almost dead, but he's captured by Harlem, and we find out later in the film that Harlem hacks into Sterling K. Brown's body and uses him as a AI robot. But anyway, before that, Jennifer Lopez, she's stranded on this planet, the unknown planet she's never been on before, and she ends up in this mech warrior suit, and then inside this suit is a AI, kind of like if you've seen 2001, A Space Odyssey, it's kind of like a HAL type AI robot. They form a bond, and there's a lot of dialogue between them in the movie, and they end up joining forces to find where Harlem is hiding, and later on in the movie we find out we discover where Harlem is, and we also find Sterling K. Brown as well. There's a bit of a scuffle between Jennifer Lopez, Atlas, and Harlem. There's a few action sequences, and then eventually, eventually, uh, Jennifer Lopez does destroy Harlem, and that's the and then end of the film after the scuffle between Atlas and Harlem. Um, Jennifer Lopez's Atlas goes back to Earth, and that bond that Jennifer Lopez formed on this distant planet between the AI. That AI ends up getting killed on a distant planet, and during the scuffle between Jennifer Lopez and Harlem, and so she forms a bond between AI, but she doesn't really trust AI because of the what happened to her mother, because it's not really shown, but it's assumed that Harlem kills her mother, and so Jennifer Lopez doesn't really trust AI. So, but she does form a bond with the AI that's in her MechWarrior suit, and so later on in the movie, after Harlem is destroyed, she goes back to Earth in like a distant future Los Angeles, and she ends up in a new suit, and then AI in his suit kind of have kind of recognize each other, even though it's completely new AI. Jennifer Lopez trusts AI a little bit more, and then that's the end of the movie. I guess they will have more adventures in the future. It doesn't really set up a sequel, but it is. I guess if this movie is successful, there is possibilities of future movies, possibilities of a franchise potential. This movie is very, very reminiscent of other sci-fi movies. It's basically uh, nothing original in this movie whatsoever. There's not much action in this movie, but there are a few decent action sequences, even though the CGI is a little bit suspect. And there's some nice dialogue, some nice rapport between the CGI, it's between AI and Jennifer Lopez's character. But other than that, it's very reminiscent of films like Blade Runner, Aliens, 2001 Space Odyssey, and Avatar. So it just basically borrows heavily from all of those films. There's nothing original in this film. It's a little bit too long. It's about 20 minutes too long. If you've never seen a sci-fi movie before, if you've never seen those movies I've mentioned, then maybe you'll like this movie. But yeah, if you've ever seen any sci-fi movie before, then yeah, this is going to be something you've seen many times before. Jennifer Lopez, she doesn't really get a chance to create a character. It's just she's just reacting to things that are happening on the screen, and reacting to the flashbacks you get throughout the movie. Yeah, so it's not really one of her best performances. It's not really her fault, but yeah, it's not really one of her best performances. The same with Sterling K. Brown. He doesn't really get a chance to create a character, and also the British actor Mark Strong appears in a very, very small role at the start of the movie and the end of the movie as Jennifer Lopez's boss. But yeah, he's very, very rarely in the movie to create any kind of impact. So I really can't recommend Atlas, the new Jennifer Lopez sci-fi movie. I think the movies I mentioned earlier, I think it's better you check out those movies than this movie. This is not a terrible movie. It's just very unoriginal, very uninspired. I can only give Atlas 2 stars out of 5. I hope you like it more than I did.